So let me go slow here a few and just let me start increasing the speed of my pivot and listen what it does to this bag. Well, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to do a follow-up to a video that I posted 9 or 10 months ago. The video was about the importance of us having a bent right wrist at impact, okay, and how much that affected ball striking, and if you wanted to be a really good ball striker, you had to have that right wrist bent. In that video, I did the hows, the whys. I'm not going to go over all of that in this video. You can go back. I'll put a link to that video in the description. You can go back and watch it. But that video has gotten a big resurgence here in the past 10, 12 days. It's gotten, I think, over 27,000 views in that period of time. And it's generated the same question more than once. And people are wondering about how they're ever going to get power when they have that right wrist bent at impact. When is the golf club getting released? Okay, so that's what I want to do in this video. I want to answer that question and be as specific as I possibly can. So you want to stay around to the whole video here because I'm going to show you exactly where the power comes from. Before we get into that, if you like golf instruction, you want to get better at your game, that's what I do on this channel. Hit that subscribe button, okay? Hit that notification bell. I've got a great series out right now that I'm in the middle of talking about don't just play golf, be a golfer. I think you really want to go watch that series as well. So let's go. So I think the first misconception that the people that are asking this question is about where the power comes from in the golf shot and how we generate club head speed. And I really think that they are all thinking that as you get to the ball, you've got to snap that club head or whip that club head through impact, release it if you want to, through impact to get power. And yes, that club is getting released through impact, but it's got to be done correctly. Doing it the way that in my mind, all of these questions are coming in, y'all are doing it wrong. It is not us taking the right hand and throwing that club through impact. The release does not happen this way, okay? I'm going to come in here and give you a close-up and show you just what's going on. So the vast majority of golfers release the club incorrectly, and they want that right hand, if they're a right-handed golfer, to make that club whip through impact. Well, here's the bad thing. One thing, when you do that, look what's happening to my left wrist. My left wrist is bending. When that left wrist is bending, I'm losing control of the club face. Club face is controlled by us having a flat left wrist. The other thing that's happening is in that first video, I talked about the weight of the golf club, and the weight of the club needs to stay lagged against that trigger finger. That's why that right wrist has to be bent. Well, if I'm doing this, I'm throwing all the weight of that club head away. The club's effectively becoming lighter, okay? And lastly, the shaft of the club needs to be accelerating through impact. And the only way the shaft of the club is accelerating is if it's leaning forward. Well, if I'm doing this, I'm now throwing all of that acceleration away. So theoretically, the club is slowing down as that is happening. So the release is happening this way. This left wrist is unhinging, but the right wrist is staying bent. And then the left arm is rotating, which drags the right arm over top of the left. And you can see here, I'm through impact and that right wrist is still bent. I've still got maintaining a little bit of lag on that finger. So now let's get back to the power situation. And let me show you where the power comes from. As I stated in that first video, the power in this comes from the pivot. Impact and address position are not the same here. At address, we are set up. Our hips are square, our shoulders are square. Club shaft basically vertical out of the ground. I have a little bend in my left wrist. Right wrist is relatively flat. Well, impact should look like this. Now my hips have cleared out of the way, my chest is turned, my shaft is leaned forward, left wrist is flat, right wrist is bent. Also, another aspect of impact is that we need to hit the ball from the inside, okay? I don't want to get my club to the back of the ball, and I for sure can't get my club around to the outside of the ball. So that impact is coming from the inside. You can see how that club is to the inside of where the ball would be. So what I have here is it's called a smash bag, okay? And I'm getting ready to use it to show you power and where that power comes from. It's just some type of vinyl bag, and it's full. You fill it up with old towels. That's where all my old golf shirts go. It's full of old golf shirts. I've got a couple of these here. These things are great. These things are great to have around the house to practice with, because you can really feel impact, okay? So let's again look at those factors of what we want at impact. Again, my club is going to be coming from the inside. Okay, if my club comes from the outside, look what's happening to my hands. Okay, so I'm inside, left wrist is flat, right wrist is bent, shaft is leaned forward, hips and body are starting to clear out of the way using the pivot. Using that pivot is the only way that we can find that impact position. So let me go slow here a few, and just let me start increasing the speed of my pivot, and listen what it does to this bag. Okay, so here's my first one. Okay, pretty loud sound. Now, notice when I hit this bag that I am really sticking that club into the bag, all right? I'm not hitting the bag and deflecting off of it. That's what happens to a lot of people. That's people that are using their arms for power and not their pivot. I'm feeling my chest just drive this golf club into that bag, all right? So now, a little bit bigger pivot, a little bit harder pivot, a little more effort out of the pivot. Super loud right there. I don't know what this is gonna sound like on the video, but that one was super loud, all right? One more time, here we go. I'm gonna make it even louder now, because I'm gonna use my pivot even more. But look at the condition of my hands. That right wrist is still bent. That left wrist was still flat. Look at how much I've rotated my body. So there's the answer to all those that have asked the question from that first video, how am I getting power with a bent right wrist? It's through the pivot. I'm gonna put a link in the description below to the smash bag. I do think they are great. It's a really great training aid that you can have at the house, that you can just stand there and hit. If you're doing it correctly, you'll feel it in your pivot. You'll feel yourself using your pivot. But it'll really give you that feel of what impact is like, okay? What correct impact feels like. Well, I hope this answers your questions, everybody. And if you haven't seen that first video, go watch it. It's a really good one. If you haven't seen my series on how to be a golfer, go get into that. I think I've got about 3 more videos, maybe 4 that are gonna add on to it. Remember, I'm gonna have a former tour player come in and talk at the end. I'm thinking he's probably gonna have enough information. It might create 3 videos on its own. But yeah, so just, if you want to improve golf, come check out my channel. That's the key. It's good, sound, fundamental golf instruction done on an easy to understand basis. I try to keep things as simple as I possibly can. No clickbait, no, fancy bells and whistles. Just here's how you learn to play golf. Well, listen, y'all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.